So, welcome. This is just such a joy to see some of you here, and especially to see Alexander, who has such a big impact on this book, because it all started with me taking his workshop, starting his workshop in January, and through different kind of going into guided meditations and me reflecting, I just was called to write this book. That's the only way I can describe it. It was like I downloaded it. It was like it was a calling that I had to write it, and the title was there and everything was right. I was just like, what am I going to write about love? And I realized, oh yeah, that is what I'm going to write about. And as some of you know, I went to pick up my old writings that I had in a locker down in the basement that I remembered, and then I got them out into the open, and I started reading them and realized I had written so many books on love, and this was my chance to co-create. I think about it that I co-created with my younger self, and that was the start of it. And Alexandra has been a really big part of guiding me through here, and having the workshop together with you in the masterpiece has been kind of like my backbone for time and creating. And even one of the other participants in the masterpiece, Alison Ross, has been helping me editing the book. Yeah. So now it's here. I put it on Amazon this morning. It was sent off to print. So after this, tomorrow morning, I will send a message out to all of you with a link for the Amazon book. I just made a very cheap version. It's $3 or something like that, so you can buy and help me to buy an online book there. All of you guys here has actually been part of it. Eva was part of it as a young woman. We traveled along each other's roads, so she was an early part of this book. Some of you here are part of me, has been part of it as being in my mentorship and the coaching programs. And Stuart has been part of the masterpiece program and supported the discussion we had there. So somehow you are all part of this book. So that's a great thing to enjoy. And I have asked Alexander to help me facilitate this launch by making a small interview with me, or this talk, or whatever we do. So will you take over here? Or
I will take over, Susanne, with great pleasure. And thank you for that introduction. Okay, it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm just so happy that you've launched the book. Now, this is being recorded. Now, everyone in this call obviously knows, Susanne, I should point that way, really. No, that way. You're over there. Everyone in this call knows you, but we're recording this. So there are some people who may be watching this recording who don't know who you are. And of course, the book reveals who you are, but why would you buy the book if you don't know Susanne? So, Susanne, I mean, it's impossible to describe you. You have been involved in the arts world for years and years and years as a producer, and you've helped other people to get up on stage and produce something extraordinary. And here you are getting onto your own stage and producing something extraordinary. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just do a little bit of a journey into this book. You've talked a little bit about why you've written the book. You've talked a little bit about how you can get the book. But I want to dive a little bit deeper into what the book is about, the origins behind the book, and why somebody should actually read the book for themselves. Because you've written it partly for yourself, I understand, but you've written it also for other people to understand your journey. And I wanted to kick off with a passage from the book, which I found particularly interesting. So let me just read that passage from the book. And I find it.
And I can say, Alexander just got the first version of the book this morning in a PDF, so he was a little bit in front.
So I found this passage really interesting. I have always had this book in me, and yet it is not mine. It is born out of the unified field that is among us, created in a state of co-creation with an energy that both is mind and beyond me. It is drawn in from my experiences in my life, from the many encounters I have had with people in my life, built on the love we have shared. It is a book on love, a book on my own struggle with love, a journey I've made in my life to surrender to who I am, to allow the forces of the universe to work with me to create miracles together. Congratulations on launching it. Like putting a book out there, I often say to people, don't launch a book. Don't write a book, not unless you really, really, really have to write the book. So you've already touched on why you've done it, but I'd love you to go into that in a little bit more detail. Why spend the time? Why do it? Why make that, why put it out there? Why do it? Why did you do it, Susanne?
To be honest, I did it because I couldn't help doing it. There was a conversation with you at some point where you said exactly what you said. No, don't write a book unless you have to. And I could feel the sadness in myself saying, but I have to do that. It was this, there's no way around. I have to do this. And I'm actually questioning myself also. I question myself all the way through writing this book. Why am I doing this? But for me, it was central that I felt this calling to do it. And I trusted the universe or the message that I got this way so much that I allowed myself to follow that message. And to be honest, I'm still not really clear about why I did write the book. I have some ideas, but I think it will only be revealed fully when it reaches its reader. And when some of you read it and return to me and see it. But I look at it a little bit like I would like to think about it as a portal in a way that you also think about. There's a reason why your picture is on the front, because you talk about art being a portal for something much bigger than ourselves. And your picture for me is a portal into yourself and your own inner world. It's like opening a door, and I would love the book to be that kind of a portal for people who read it to recognize different bits of themselves and realizing on a deep level that they are much more than they think they are. That the potential that we have as human beings are so much bigger. And if my book can just change that for a couple of persons, or hopefully for more people, but that we at this moment in time, that's the bigger thing, that I truly believe at this moment in time that we need to connect to love. We need to connect to, or we don't need to. Yeah, well, actually we do, because we are on the verge of a world changing. We're entering a new kind of renaissance, a new kind of world where we have to, as human beings, to really think quickly and be really wise and raise our level of consciousness to survive, actually. We are facing a climate change. We are facing technology taking over everywhere, and in order to survive that, I think we need to raise our level of consciousness. And if my book can just push that raise a little bit, I would be happy.
Beautiful. So what I'm hearing there, Susanne, is it's a portal into something greater than ourselves, and that portal is really, or the access to the portal is love. If we step through the portal, we raise consciousness, and if we raise consciousness, we may start to resolve some of the challenges we face on the planet. I'm also going to pick out another passage that I particularly liked. There are so many of us who struggle with love. On the one hand, we believe another person can fulfill us through love. Yet at another level, we fear love because we believe love will bind us. This is only our false expectations of love. We surrender to love as a key to open who we truly are. Going through life is a search of how we can be in love relationships without losing ourselves. How can we be partners, friends? How can we be partners, be friends, be working, be in families, take responsibility for society without letting go of who we are? How can we embrace ourselves without being egoistic? How can we welcome spirituality without getting lost? Our life is a quest to form our true identity, to connect to our source of energy and be who we truly are. Only then can we enter into a new way of community on earth. We need to heal ourselves, and in so doing, heal the planet we live on. We need to heal ourselves, and in so doing, heal the planet we live on. I'd love to hear you talk a little bit more about that, because I'm hearing in the words you're saying a resonance with those words that you've written as well.
Yeah, and I'm interested in this journey. I find the journey we are living as human beings really interesting. I'm not only my own. I also find the journey that other people are living really interesting. And this struggle we have to really find, get home to ourselves. And we are so distracted from that road to ourselves by society and by people around us. And that's really also the story of the book, how I got derailed from, and we all do. And I hope just my book will open for some recognition for other people to see I also got derailed in some way. Where did I step off from being myself? And how can I unlearn the patterns that I learned in that derailing and come back to myself? And the struggle, I think, maybe it's a little bit banal, but but it's still essential what we do. We struggle between our individuality, who we are, and the expectations of society. And I think, of course, in my book, because I'm a woman, there's also a particularity about being a woman in that struggle, and how to evolve and expand as a woman in a society which is predominantly male, and what is the things that derail us in that road. So how can we balance that so we don't see it as an either or? We are our individuality, and allowing ourselves to be in the individuality and still be a part of society and still be a part of the community. And what I'm saying here is also that we need to find another way to find that community. It's about really being brave enough to step into a new reality, to find a way to be human, be together as human beings.
So what again I'm hearing is that, like, it's the journey of your life and the journey of being derailed at some point. Like you're going on your life and somehow you go off the rails and you take a diversion and you meet resistance on that diversion, and then somehow you come back to who you are, and that back to who you are is coming home to yourself.
Yeah.
And so if I look at the book, you explore love in multiple different dimensions. You're not exploring just one facet of love. I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about the different facets of love you've explored and how you've explored those different facets.
Yeah, the actually came partly from an idea that you said, gave me, about that the Greeks have actually defined 5 different versions of love, which is the eros, which is what we traditionally look at as love, the erotic love, the relationship of love. Here we have, yeah, and then we have storge, which is the love of family and kids, what ties us together as a unity. And then there's philia, which is the love between equals, friends, the love for society, everything that has to do with society. And philotia, which is the love of self, the compassion for oneself. And then finally agape, which is the spiritual love. So I have tried to, throughout the book, to keep addressing those 5. I'm not doing it. It's not like you will see that, oh, this is an eros chapter and this is a storge chapter, but there is a division in a way. I kept kind of going into different dimension of what love is through these 5 different concepts of love, because we kind of banalize, we think of love too one-dimensional. So it often we do, at least we think about the romantic love as what is the love, and for me it's all the other, of course the eros is also there, but it's all the other definitions of love which is really interesting, that we sometimes forget in the way we live. So it's getting this fullness and this multiple dimensionals of what love is through addressing it in different ways.
And talk to us about, like, I'd love to hear your conclusion about the relationship between them, because love manifests in these 5 different ways, or we can distinguish these 5 different ways that love appears in our lives. Did you see a relationship between these 5 different types of love, or did you explore them kind of very separately? And if you saw a relationship, or if you didn't see a relationship, what conclusions did you come to about how you got derailed and where you ended up coming kind of back onto the rails around love?
Well, I think the journey is actually to mix them together. For me, it's to allow all 5 aspects to be in your life, and to integrate them into the way you live your life, and that to really understand that they all belong there, and they are all part of it. And I think it's a part of getting older also. Now I'm turning 60 tomorrow, and so I lived a good part of my life. And I think the more, there's also a progression, that the older you get, the more you feel the need to. So there is a need. First, you're very interested in. You come from the family, of course, but then you're very interested in this erotic relationship, love relationship, and then along the way, it becomes more about how you place this in society. And also, most of you, if you had family, you will know that you kind of forget yourself, being in a family, which if you raise a family by yourself. So it's also coming back to realizing that there's a self-love that you need, somehow to fuel in yourself, to be able to be passionate and be happy and joyful about what you do. You cannot. We tend to all these years with small children and family, we tend to forget a little bit about our self-love, about nurturing ourselves. And then there is the agape, which is probably the one that I'm guessing that will be the one that fuels me more and more in the years to come, because it's become more and more important for us to see ourselves as part of a bigger system. So I went through all of it. I also, at some point, of course, the friendship dimension is quite important for all of us. And also, and being in society, I invested quite a lot of myself. Actually, also as a politician, I ran for parliament and everything, to take responsibility for society. And then I came back to saying, okay, I have to, if I'm going to be futile in society, I also need to fuel myself. I cannot give everything away of myself, because then I'll just drain myself in a way that the way I am in society is not actually fruitful any longer, if that makes sense. It's a balance, between it. And
So let me jump in there, Susanne, because what I'm hearing when you look at these 5 different types of love is that really where you've come to now is that life is a balance between all of these. And perhaps earlier on, when we're younger, we end up focusing a little bit more on eros and erotic love, and maybe the love of family. And somehow what we end up losing is philautia, the love of ourself and self-compassion, which
and the agape also.
And as a consequence of that agape, right? So what I'm hearing is that this kind of is where, in a sense, you might have gone off path a little bit. You came back through this, that gave you access into this, and also back into philia, and it's that kind of derailing and getting back on the rails that I think I'm hearing in your journey, which of course is an archetypical journey, right? It's an archetypical journey of externalizing, becoming dependent on somebody else rather than being centered on oneself. And what I hear in your journey is coming back to the self and coming back to that compassion, which is not an egotistical. Socrates, Aristotle made the distinction between 2 types of philautia. The first type, he said, is an egotistical philautia, which is all about kind of narcissistic love. And then there's like real self-compassion. And that real self-compassion is then connection. So I'd love to.
Yeah, and I just want to say that there's also something about in the love relationship, because I've been so lucky that I've been with my husband since I was 25. So we have experienced a lot of that journey and travel together. So and I think also that there's something about, I perfectly well understand if people have to break up their relationship because it's difficult to maintain a marriage. So the book is also about the how to maintain a relationship and how to grow in a relationship, and that becomes about you as two individuals actually helping each other to grow and become that individuality for yourself. You know, how can you balance being two and still being individuals? And it's not necessarily an easy task to do, I have to say, but the benefit of doing it is really amazing, because the relationship there becomes an exchange of the masculine and the feminine, unless of course you are in a female or whatever relationship. But for me at least, it becomes an exchange. It's a balance of the masculine and the feminine values and ideas, which makes you whole in the end.
I love this thought. I'm gonna come back to this. I'm gonna park this for a second. I want to just go a little bit more deeper into the journey, because, you know, when you create an artistic performance, it lasts what, an hour and a half, maybe less. When you write a book, it's minimum a 10-week process. Right? You can't write a book in a day. It's impossible unless it's a children's book. So I'd love to hear, what was the greatest insight you learned from writing this book, from going on this journey?
Actually, it was that I love writing, and I came back to that. I loved writing when I was younger, and I kind of forgotten that part of myself. There was a certain point in my life where I gave up on my own expression. So the book has been coming back to my own expression and allowing for that expression to come out. And I've always been afraid of writing that book because I'm a very external person. I love to be around people. So I was just like, how can I ever be isolated and enough and be detailed enough to actually write a book? It was just like an impossible sort for me. You know, I'm never going to finish a book like that. But that I actually enjoyed being in that solitude of writing the book. It was like a conversation with myself that I actually found quite joyful, and I loved the actually, you know, closing everything else down. And I think you have to do that to write a book. You have to really commit yourself to closing it down. And I was very committed that I wanted to have the book finished before my birthday and before coming and becoming a grandmother. So I was just really determined this was what I did. And I was, of course, helped by the Corona situation, because nobody else was meeting, so I wasn't missing out on very much. You know, if there'd been a lot of partying going around me that I had to say no to, I would probably have had a problem with that. So the everything was helping me in this process, and it was winter. It was also something about going to Bornholm. I wrote most of the book at Birka, and it was sitting out in the nature and allowing myself to be fueled by that energy of nature, which is a big part of the book also. There's an energy. To connect to that energy was important for me, and it was also allowing myself to really trust what I received, to get out of being the intellectual, actually, to get out of the wave of myself, because I as many of you know, I took an intellectual education. I'm a graduate in comparative literature, and that kind of derailed me completely, because I created a mindset which was much more about the intellect and about the mind. So going into this process, what about trusting the heart and the gut feeling instead, and saying, well, I'm not the judge of this book. I don't have to do it in a literary way that kind of fits different formats that I already know. In a way, I knew too much about literature before, and I had to get out of that. I had to leave that and say, I have to do this my own way. And that was an interesting journey for me to allow myself to go really deep on the emotional level instead. The brain part of me, take that out, and in a way, it's still there. Of course it is.
Of course it is, because we both have an intellect and an intuition. So you can't get rid of the intellect. It's just who's leading. And as Einstein relatively famously said, the intellect is a faithful servant and the intuition is a sacred gift. And what I hear you talking about here is that you listen to the sacred gift and you use your intellect in order to organize that gift and actually put it down on paper, and your greatest insight was actually just being able to get into that intuitive flow and write. And if I heard you correctly, you didn't say it now, but I've heard you say this before. Am I right in thinking this is the first and there's already a second, like, running around in the back of your head?
Oh yeah, a second book. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it so much, so I know because the day after I finished the manuscript and put it into the graphic designer, I was reminded that I already had another manuscript in the drawer, and I was just like, oh, that project that I had kind of forgotten about, and so I already know what I'm going to write the next book about, because it's a journey that I just have to take now. It and in a way it feels so stupid to be. Coming out as an author in the age of 60, it's like, what am I thinking about? But I don't care. In a way, I don't care. It's what I have to do,
Well,
and that's the purpose of doing
for those of you who know Susanne, just listen to the energy and the way that the energy is going up as she's talking, right? And this is the state that I guess you were in when you were writing, because when you read the words, there is this energy flowing through, and it's almost like you're writing a book as you're talking, right? So your energy is going up as you're writing. And that is the consciousness that you're talking about, which is incredibly powerful. So if there was one message that you would like people to leave with after they've read this book, what would that message be?
it probably to trust your feeling, to trust that loving feel, to allow for spirit, for that intuition and that feeling, emotional level to talk to you, to that it's actually, yeah, that might be it, because it's that's what I did. I actually sat down every morning before writing, and I meditated, and whatever came up, that's what I wrote about. So the book is not written in a linear level like that. I've been jumping back and forth with it, because I trusted that what I came to me was the things that I should write about, and that way it became joyful to write. And so it's to go to whatever, I guess not everybody's going to write a book here, but it's about putting that level of joyfulness into whatever you're doing, whatever you're creating, to be in that state of allowing for that state of joy, because it's already in you. It's allowing for it to come true.
Beautiful. Thank you. Let's return now to that end of the book where you talk about this kind of the masculine and the feminine coming together, and the power of the masculine and the feminine coming together. As Chenson joins us, Chenson, perfect timing as always. Welcome. We're literally talking about like we've gone through the reason why Susanne wrote the book, and we're now just kind of at the point where we're talking about how how does the masculine and the feminine come together after you kind of derail and then you come back to self-compassion. And I want to read this passage right at the end, because it really jumped out at me as incredibly powerful. So let me just find this passage, and it's literally right at the end of the book, and it talks about the eternal lover. We are two individuals, and yet we are one. We have balanced the masculine and the feminine in us. He takes care of me like no other. I feel the love intensely. I never doubt it. Feel the love from him and to him. No battles left, no fighting. We have conquered the struggles, the moments we did not trust. We can be here as we are in our source. There is no separation left. Our bodies and souls resonate with each other like our cells talk. Even though we are not always physically together, we are still together. And then it goes on and talks. It starts to get kind of exciting at certain points, but I'm not gonna read the whole book, because you need to read the whole book. So there are little kind of erotic bits in there as well, which are kind of exciting, which I encourage you to get into. But this union,
which by the way was funny, because I left it out in a way because I didn't want to embarrass my husband too much. So I kind of was really, the nice girl leaving stuff out. And then he said, but why are you not writing about that? And I realized, okay, of course it's part of it. I need to put it in there. Because it's part of it. So yeah. I'm not elaborating too much on it, but of course it's part of it, and it's also part of this thing that our desires kind of go down also, and something else is growing up instead while we're in longer relationship and while we get older, and we never talk about it. And he actually said it's such a taboo. Why are you not talking about it? Because we need to talk about how our desires change in life also.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's in there. And I really respect you for adding that in. Now, actually happens to be like there are lots of coincidences this week. So your grandson was born on Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are 60 tomorrow. Your book has just gone live on Amazon today. And a small little coincidence on my side, here we are talking about love and unity, and it happens to be my 8th wedding anniversary with my wife. So like it's a week of really powerful coincidences. And
And then I discovered today that it's actually International Book Day today.
right, International Book Day. So launching your first book on International Book Day, I mean, how extraordinary is that? So I wanted to kind of open it out because I've probably asked enough questions, and maybe there are one or two questions here that people would love to ask about the book, or love to ask about your perception of love, or perhaps comments. I realize, Roman, it's now at 1:39 in the morning your time, but maybe there's still a question that wants to emerge through you, or maybe somebody else has a question. So let me pause there and feel free to unmute yourself. It can just be a comment.
I just wanted to say, Susanne, that when you talked about the different, like the 5 different kinds of love, and if I look back at my own story, it's not in that order. You know, I would have to say, because I never had children, but of course the love of family is there. But then I'm skipped to something else. Then the spiritual love for me came before I met my husband. But that just kind of, so it's really interesting. I've never thought about it in that way. So I'm really excited to read your book. And I just saw you said something else that I'm going to put in my book, and I'm going to quote you.
Okay, I'm looking forward to hear what that is.
Oh, it's about derailing. Oh, yes.
Derailing.
That's very good. Yeah, thank you.
Quote the author of a book on love.
Yeah.
Thank you for
actually, Tina is quoted in my book, and Alexander is quoted in my book also. And I really like this thing. There's a lot. We haven't talked about that part. Maybe we should I should talk about, because I did decide that the book was going to be very visual, because I'm a visual person. I love visuals. And I also work in an industry as a performing arts manager and producer, where we are very keen on the visual stuff. So it had to be very visual. And Nede Banke, my graphic designer, did just such a beautiful work on the book to take it in. And the pictures which is in the book is all some pictures that I have taken at Birka. And I realized, I didn't think about it in the beginning, but I suddenly remember that I always love to take photos. It's a big part of me to take photos and be visual also. So I'm really happy that it's part of there. And it's from the nature at Birka, which is a way for me to get nature into the book, because for me that enlightenment, or that high consciousness, is so connected to the nature part. This is why I love my residency place Birka so much, because it gives that resonates with nature. So that's one part of it. But then there's poems, which I wrote as a young girl, which is also in there. And then I also kind of collected wise words for people that are important to me to put in there. But I also asked people around me to support me with their quotes. And I like this jump between some people like Eckhart Tolle and Marianne Williamson, and then there's Tina Robinson in there. So there's this, and I kind of like that the voices in the book comes from a lot of different places. And can be expressed. So there's a kind of like a poetic side to the book on one page, and then there's a text which is of course also poetic in its own way on the other side. So this is how it looks like. You get a little taster here.
Beautiful. And that's one of the things I love. I love the the poems, the photos. It's like it's not just the writing. The whole thing is created, and the design as well. So it is a visual journey through your life. So let me see. Are there any other questions or comments at this stage, Roman?
Yeah. First of all, Susanna, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. It's so cool, and of course you inspire. Of course you inspire, and then I remember my first reaction. Then you told me in January, I'm starting to write a book, and I was like, like, and yeah, and of course I very I don't know, inspired about your relationship with Alexander, because Alexander, yes, it's, come on, you are a very, very inspiring, deep person, and what you do is absolutely outstanding. And I think your, I don't know, creative relationship makes something new, and that's absolutely powerful. And of course, yeah, I have the same feeling about book, Alexander. I think this is like, for me, it looks like more like performance, because all these colors and all these pages, and I very, very much like how all letters looks like all this stuff. It's really visual art, and this book is very, very. I think it looks very beautiful. It looks beautiful. It looks like very sensitive. I want to touch. Definitely. That's amazing. It's, I don't know. I'm happy for you, and yeah, guys. For you, of course, it's now only 23rd of April, but for me now, birthday of my lovely Susanna, because I'm man from to the future. You know, I live in the future because I'm from another day, and that's why Susanna, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you are big enough now.
I had birthday in
Yes,
Russia that
yes.
month.
Happy birthday again.
And I don't even have anything to drink with or do or anything.
Yeah, limoncello for you.
Oh,
What we
that's
can drink in Siberia? Limoncello from Italy.
okay. No, that's what I mean, Alexander. There's no Russian in him. He's drinking limoncello.
Yeah. I don't have vodka at all.
However, I must add that Russians give the best toasts, right? That like a Russian toast. Like I never realized this, but when you go to like a party, a wedding, like everyone stands up and gives a toast.
Yeah. That's
Way
it.
you do it, and that's why you end up being so drunk at any party with a Russian, because like it's a birthday party or a wedding. Like you just give toast after toast after toast, and I really love that tradition. It also does help with the vodka or limoncello consumption. So beautiful toast.
Thank you.
Respond, Susanne.
Yeah, thank you, Roman. It's really, I'm really happy that you're getting up in the middle of the night, still up in the middle of the night, toasting me for my birthdays as the first one. So and for your beautiful words. So that's nice. Ooh, somebody left. Yeah.
We're going to wrap up in a second, Susanne, so you can go back and continue your celebrations, go back to your glass of whatever it is you're drinking, because I think that's important. But let's finish off by just going back to how can somebody get hold of this book when they want to get hold of this book? In other words, when and how can they get hold of this book?
Well, it's actually on Amazon. You can just search for my name. I went in myself, just search for my name. It should be worldwide on Amazon. It's there. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You found it. It's quite a little bit yeah. Ooh, you can look inside of it also on Amazon.
So here it is on Amazon, still loading, obviously.
Yeah.
But it exists. It exists on Amazon, which is extraordinary because Amazon normally it's not loading properly at the moment, but Amazon normally takes 72 hours for something to load, or a little bit less than that, and you put it up today, and here it is already. There you go, it's probably loaded.
Yeah. I was I got a little bit this morning when I loaded it up, and then it said that it would take 72 hours to get it, and I was just like, oh no, that doesn't work because it was supposed to get out here now, but now it's here. So again, I was supported by the universe. It came out right in time. So I am gonna send, and I put out a launch offer, which is only $3. So you can find it and buy it for $3 for a couple of days. It's probably going to go up, but this is a special birthday offer for the book. Yeah, here you were in the British one also, so it's in £2. Yeah.
Yeah, it's £2.16 here. It's $3. Oh, I can't find the right way to navigate. But basically, it is at a ridiculous price at the moment, Susanne. I can't believe it is at this price. This is incredible. So you are giving it for
buyer.
You already bought it, Roman.
I already bought.
Yeah, but you can.
I have this book.
You can only buy it on the 24th. That's it. But you are already in the 24th.
Right. Well, I'm buying it right now as well. So I'm the first British buyer. It's bought. So I encourage you to do exactly the same thing. Somebody's bought it from the future. I bought it from the present. Wherever you are in the world, buy the book. You can get it on Kindle, and it's going to be there for a couple of days at that price, which is ridiculous. I mean, that's less than a cup of coffee.
Yeah, we're going to have it out there until at least Tuesday to buy.
Is it also in Amazon? Is there an Amazon.dk, or is it only through Amazon
go
UK?
To the British one.
Oh, okay.
For Amazon, and then of course there's a few of you who might come to the Danish book launch next Saturday, where the physical book is there. So that's Roman, are you coming to Copenhagen? Of course you come. You probably can't get into the country, but you're welcome. So that's I'm also printing some physical copies, so it's possible to buy those. I haven't set a price on them yet. So, but yeah, people can write to me if you want to have a physical copy of it. We will organize that. I haven't really thought about how to do that yet. But
well, let's be clear, Susanne. The physical copy is a limited edition one, and is only going to be handed out to limited edition people. So let me finish off, and then I'll leave the final word to you, obviously. I just wanted to come back to this cover, and I am so grateful. For those of you who are totally confused, why am I standing in the middle of a blizzard painting a painting? Actually, you may notice that this painting that Susanne has put on the book is actually this painting here. And I will very briefly tell you the story because I think it's pertinent to what you've been talking about. You'll see that you can hardly tell what the painting is here. And that's because I painted it in this blizzard. Right? This is me. I'm in a blizzard in the Alps, and it snowed so heavily that all the paint froze on the canvas, and I faced all this resistance literally as I was painting it. And at one point there was so much paint on the canvas I couldn't see the canvas, so I literally had to do what Susanne is talking about, which is paint every brushstroke with intuition. I couldn't see the canvas, I couldn't see the palette, and so I was doing everything with my sixth sense, everything with my intuition. And at a certain point I asked myself, well, who's painting? Is it me, the paint, the snow, or something greater than me? And at that point, feeling true agape running through me and realizing that something really extraordinary here is happening. And then right at the end, and the reason the canvas looks like this now is right at the end of the painting, I turned to my friend who was filming me, Tony, and I said, Tony, it's finished. And he said, yeah, it's finished. And at that moment, the sun came out. It melted the snow and ice, which was holding the paint to the canvas, and the paint ran off the canvas, which is why you can see these streaks of the paint running off the canvas. And that really is, I believe, what happens. Like the universe partners with us in a moment, and it partners with us through agape, and then we stop. and this happens. So, Susanne, I'm so touched that you've decided to put this on the cover of your book. I'm even more touched and more grateful that you've written a book about love, a book which tells your personal story. I salute you for doing it. Congratulations on launching it. What a phenomenal week you've had. And I'll leave the final word to you.
And just to say about the painting, I actually bought the painting. And it's going to be hanging on Bornholm. So if anybody of you come to visit me at Bornholm, there will be a painting, the painting of Alexandra will be there. And I presume you will come at some point to see me at Bornholm. So it's like the energies goes in and out. And also, by the way, everybody, when you buy the book, it will, all the income from the book will go through to Birka. So that's kind of like the deal that I make with the universe also, that this book is a way to support Birka also. So that's how the energies are exchanged in it. So yeah, so that's just it. And we had a newcomer here. Karen, are you gonna say hello to us?
Karen, your timing is impeccable. You're just in time to congratulate Susanne on a wonderful book launch and share a few words with her.
And we don't really, she's connecting to audio, and I don't know which Karen it is. So I'm excited to see which Karen is coming in here. Which Karen is it?
Vil hun også have, at vi skal sige noget?
Ja.
Hej, Sanne. Nu er det endelig lykkes.
Oh, that Karen. Okay, we were excited about which Karen it is.
Yeah.
So you don't need to say more, but we are here. We're just finalizing the call together. So I just want to say thank you to Alexandra for taking us through this little conversation, and I hope those of you who came up here enjoyed it, and those of you listening to it, I'm going to send it out also for people to listen to, so you will get it, and you will also get the link for the book in case you cannot find it yourself on Amazon. And I'm so full of joy with this immense kind of support that I feel that I have. You can call it the support from the universe, but it manifests in the people around you and the nature around you, and it's manifesting by the people who actually support you in your life journey. So just appreciate whoever is supporting you in your life, and say yes to whatever support you're getting. I think that's actually the key, is that, appreciate the support you're getting, say yes to it, and that was what I did with Alexandra when I met him. I said, yeah, something is gonna happen here. It somehow in your heart. So I hope you will. I know Tina is writing a book, and Anna, of course, is an author. So she is writing. She already she's writing. She's a playwright. So she knows everything about the writing process. And maybe Robin will probably write a book at some point also, right?
For now, I will make an Instagram hashtag a book on love.
Oh.
That's it. In Instagram now we have a book on love. That's it.
You're great, Roman. Thank you very much for supporting us. So go out and make a great. Do you have something to say, Tina?
I want to sing a song for you that fits this. I have my. We're in Denmark, and I have my Viking glass. It has sake in it. Sorry, I don't have any mjød. So it's but there's an old Viking song about love. And it's very short. It's not a very long song. So I just want to sing it for you because it just popped into my mind. And when that happens, I like you said, Alexander, when that happens, I have to sing or I will explode. Okay.
Yeah, you go ahead. And we also have Alison coming in, who actually edited the book. But go ahead and, I look forward to this.
It's in old Swedish, but with an American accent. But there you go. You'll understand. Okay. Kärleken sang den lättare min gång och vägen var kortare av fåglarnas sång. Kärleken sang den lättare min gång och vägen förkortades av fåglarnas sång. That's it.
Super.
It's just about love, love's song. It lightens my way, and my way gets and my way is shortened by the songs of the birds.
Yeah, and that's a very that very symbolic thing. This about, you know, the singing of the birds, that, you know, the nature, and, you know, the support that you're getting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very beautiful. Thank you very much, Tina.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. I will see all of you around. Alison, are you here? Could you say hello? Are we going to see you?
I'm sorry, I'm here to say hello. You can't see me because I'm not home and the internet here isn't the best. So I'm glad that I am here, that I can just wish you well and say happy birthday for tomorrow and congratulations on your awesome book.
Okay, and thank you so much, Alison, and thank you so much for the work that you did to edit the book and make sure that my English was correct and readable. So it's been a pleasure to work with you, and it's just been, your impact has been big on this book also. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you as well. And I haven't had a chance to look at the final PDF, so I might still come back to you with some things here and there.
Don't come back with any proofreading now. That's too late.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
You know what? That's the hardest thing about finishing a book. Because this is what you have to realize it's finished. Because otherwise you would keep writing on it. It's like, it's almost impossible not to keep writing on it and keep adjusting on it. And you keep getting thinking, new thoughts about, I could also put this in and this in. So there's a point where you really have to be strict and say, that's it.
No, I spoke to somebody today who's taken 7 years to write a book. And here's the problem, and I did mention this to you right at the beginning. What happens is our consciousness changes. Because our consciousness changes, our thoughts change, and we want to add something in, so you never finish the book. So I applaud you for finishing the book in 10 weeks. That is incredible for a first-time book.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the next one. And I'm going to encourage you to go back to your family now and have that glass of celebration.
And you go in and have fun with your wife and celebrate your anniversary. Hopefully she didn't go to bed before you finished here. So, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.